I felt so bad for lying to this lady because, I am a Christian now and all that. I'm not perfect. I'm trying to change my ways. And I felt so guilty about lying to this poor lady. I said, look, I lied to you about the reason I need this ride. I said, you have an emergency, but I don't have a pregnant wife, giving birth to my twin, all that nonsense. She says, well, you're such a nice guy. Can we pray together? And she prayed with me.
Wow.
And so I said goodbye to her. I went into Burger King. She left. And I said, I can't tell you what the emergency is. I'm sure you're going to find out soon enough. When she got back to her place, the police were everywhere because the dogs tracked me to her front door, and then they were showing my poster around everywhere, and they drug her out of the car. And where is he? And she's like, where's who? The guy you gave lied to. I went into Burger King. I saw the cameras, and I was like, okay. So I was like, because I knew that would be on the news. I went like that sarcastically. I went in the bathroom, got the rest of my prison clothes, threw them in there. And I was going to try to steal a car from that parking lot. When I pushed the door, a guy was coming in. He goes, man, you look lost. I said, yeah, you see that Mercedes right there? I got locked out. I was looking for a house in the area. And I'm just waiting for the locksmith, and I'm going to miss the appointment with my realtor. So I was making up one story after the other just to keep getting out of the area, further from the area. And he says, well, let me grab my lunch. I'll give you a ride to wherever you want to go. And so he ended up giving me a ride and then allowed me to stay with him in his condo for a while. And I said when he made the offer, I said, look, dude, I said, I'm not bi, I'm not curious, anything weird like that. I said, so, what's up? He goes, no, it's not like that. He said, I'm associate pastor of my church. You just have, you've fallen on the situation where you're locked out of your car. You can stay at my house overnight. I was like, okay. So I stayed there. He went to a barbecue that night with church members, and they started calling the house, like wanting to talk to me. Now, by then, I'm all over the news. And yeah, it just got real weirder and weirder. I had to leave there. Like he was catching on to who I was. And when I walked out of his condo, I looked up. There's a helicopter as high as you could see, just hovering over the complex. I knew it was for me. And as soon as I tried to get further from the complex, like I think it was US 1. So I tried to get out of this place, and all of a sudden, a stream of SUVs and police vehicles were pulling in. And so I broke into a power walk. I had a hat on, glasses, shorts. I just acted like I was out for a morning walk at this condo. And as they passed by me, I looked in, and like they have wanted posters on clipboards in their lap. And they're passing me, but I found out later their bolo said I was 350 pounds. They had a completely wrong description. Yeah, so they drove right past me. I waved to them, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm caught. They didn't know. So then they circled the wrong building. So when I circled the wrong building with this stuff I wanted to go in and get real quick, I snuck back in where I was for that, but right. And the second I got in the freaking condo, they figured out they made a mistake, and they circled the right building down track. So I got sheriffs, cops, corrections officials, U.S. Marshals, staging outside with dogs, all their gear on and everything. Because I'm a prison escapee. They are allowed to shoot to kill a prison escapee. I was a law clerk. I know how this works. They can kill you if you escape from prison. So I was like, holy crap, I'm stuck now. I went back. And they come up the door, they're knocking, U.S. Marshals, hey, Mr. Such and Such, we want to talk to you about your new guest. And as they're saying that, I'm just like standing still so they don't look through the peephole. Only I knew where he went that morning because I'm the one that sent him there because he got a call, and I told him that somebody was waiting for him. So they had no exigent circumstances. They did not see me go in. They did not have a warrant or the owner's permission. So I was doing the legal math. I said, they can't break this door down, and they're not sure I'm in here. So they did this for like 20, 30 minutes, and then when they left, I saw them pulling out. I said, holy crap, these people did not really leave me here like this. And I opened the door, and I went down the staircase with one hand in front of my heart, one in front of my face. And at every landing down to the downstairs to the parking lot, I said, please don't shoot, I surrender, I surrender. There's nobody there. Crickets. They all left. Got to the parking lot one last time, because I figured at least if they kill me, there'll be powder burns and holes in the palms of my hands, And I was like, man, please don't kill me, don't shoot. I give up, my hands are up. And then I put my hands down because there was no one there. And I took off. And then I had another guy give me a ride, and I got out of the area. That's the version of it.
That's an adventure.
Yeah, then I went to...
Did you surrender, or did they actually apprehend you?
Well, they caught me 2 weeks later. Average capture on escape, I think, is like 24 hours, something like that.
2 weeks, huh? Yeah, you definitely had them beat, didn't you?
Yeah, I was getting ready to hit a jewelry thing up in Daytona Beach. If you know International Speedway Boulevard, across from the track, there's a mall, and the Volusia Mall. And I went in there, and there was like a kiosk, a jewelry counter full of jewelry. And I was going to hit it, but I had no lockpicks. I had just escaped from prison. And I noticed from the day before, the girls would roll it up, roll it up, roll it up, roll it up, jewelry out. And then they'd go, I think it was Barney's or Starbucks or something for half hour or so, and then come back. So I said, holy crap, all this jewelry is on display. Those locks are very simple to open. I figured put $200,000, $300,000 for. So I didn't have picks. I went in the Sears store right over there, and there was a big line. I went to get a pry bar because I could just hit each case one at a time. If you open two at a time, the alarm goes off. If you open one at a time, the alarm doesn't go off. So I knew all this. I had an alarm company in New York, in Locksmith. So I went to get this little cat's paw and a long bag. And now there's people at the register in Sears. I'm losing time. So I just played it off and walked outside Sears straight to this booth, this jewelry booth. And as I went to put my hand around to unlock it and let myself in, the little swinging door thing,
Yeah.
I wasn't 5 steps from that, and the guy puts his hand on my shoulder from Sears. He says, hey. He says, you want to come back to Sears with me?
Gee.
He said, yeah. He said, you put a tool in your pocket and you took off without paying. You passed, And that's how I got caught. He says, look, we're just going to give you a trespass warning. That's what it's under. I said, I want to pay for it. I'm illegally parked. There was a line. Blah, blah, blah. I gave him a fake name. He wrote all his paperwork. He was going to give me a trespass warning. He said, now do you have an ID to back up the name you just gave me? And I said, no, it's in my hotel next to the track. I'm staying at Hampton Inn, right next to Daytona track. And he says, well, if you don't have an ID, I have to allow the police. He calls the cop out there. The cop is like, I don't know why they're wasting my time. This is bullshit. You're a clean-cut guy. Never mind. I'm America's Most Wanted, and I've been in prison before, career criminal. So he's believing my bullshit at the time. And he ran the name and everything I gave him, and it came up to me, and he says, look, I'm just going to let you go and tell them they can give you a warning here. I'm not going to arrest you. And so he calls his sergeant to get permission to do that. The sergeant said, no way. Book him in as a John Doe, as a misdemeanor. And he explained to me, here, if you're booked into a John Doe, you cannot post bond until the prints come back and figure out who you are.
Yeah, you'd be in there.
They take me to the Volusia jail. There's a homeless guy sleeping, and I go over in the misdemeanor. He's like in the drunk tank, I guess. And I go slip his paperwork, his release paperwork out, because he's going to get released. He's just sleeping with something off. So I look at the name, whatever, I keep it. I'm waiting for him to call that name. I'm going to escape from the Volusia jail. So I kind of look like the guy.
That's ridiculous.
So they finally take me out to the booking area, do my prints. It's the laser scanning. So I'm dragging my prints. I don't want them to get a clean print. It's, there's some kind of laser glass thing, whatever. And so the guy said, are you nervous or something? I said, no, I've never been arrested before. And he goes, well, this thing will not let me proceed to the next finger until I get a clear print. You have to stay still and keep rolling. He got the prints. I go back to the holding cell. A few minutes later, I see them closing down the whole booking area. They lock up all the trustees, all the prisoners, and they bring in this big squad of, the guys with the tasers and the shields.
The goon squad. Yeah, the goon squad.
They open the door. They ask me to step out. It's a little teeny lady in civilian clothes. She said, I'm with the Volusia Sheriff's Office. I'm the APHIS technician. I have to personally run your prints again. There's no problem. She takes me out. She runs them again. They put me in the cell. 5 minutes later, they call me out. I ignore them. They said, you know who you are. They bat me out. Next thing you know, 5 minutes later, butt naked, red jumpsuit. I'm in a hole somewhere in the jail. Never to see light of day again for 18 years. So,
jeez.
That's how they caught me. I almost escaped from the jail.
That's a good story. That was a very, very good story.
So
but hey, we're in the second half hour. We're going to have to cut you short here. We're going to go to a quick break, and we will be back here to Sanitarium with the round table. Be ready now.
So what makes the Fudge Factory so special is it is Uranus Fudge Factory. Everybody is intrigued by that name. They're so curious when they walk through that door. They're not sure of what to expect. And when we greet them with they laugh, the giggles, and the energy that comes from them is what we feed off of. So then we know just how much we can play with our customers. My name is Tina Elliott. I'm the general manager. It is my duty to make sure that fudge is packed properly. I am very proud to say that I teach all my fudge packers everything that I know. We get people from all over the world. We're not just a stop, we're a destination now.
Thank you for making Uranus.
We love this place. It's the heart of Uranus.
In a time and place where kids were forced to fight for survival,
Jesus, I'm just hoping when I lop this dude's filthy head off, his cock will be rigor mortied for like 30.
food is sparse,
Jesus, I'm starving.
and so are the women.
God damn it, Samuel. See if you could cut that tree stub off and fit it up my anus.
These are the Hunger Gays.
Oh, God damn, cock back with your spoo arrow and shoot it in me. Oh,
Coming this summer to theaters near you.
God damn it, what are you doing in that tree? Climb down off that hard piece of wood and climb onto mine.
Written by Suzanne Collins.
Is that a bow and arrow in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
Readapted by Aman Krause.
Take your filthy love weapon and stuff it deep inside my fight tunnel.
The hunger has been satisfied.
What's up, everybody? Welcome you back to the Sanitarium. Interesting night, huh? Got the homies on. Got a pretty cool guest that's done a bunch of cool shit. He stole jewelry. He's been a high-profile criminal. He's been a high-profile criminal. He escaped from prison, wrote some books, did some TV shows, and now he's doing good shit for the people by helping with true crimes and other stuff he does to help expose crimes and help people. Anyways, I'm getting long-winded here. It's been a long night. Long week, actually, too. But, you go ahead and switch to the round table graphic here, because it is time for the round table. I have no idea what that was. Here we go. Let me get my echo on. Alright, here's the round table tonight. Here's Bill. HPI and all sorts of cool paranormal stuff and more stuff here is offered. Paranormal investigator, demonologist, and a cool motherfucker. Here's Paul Dale Roberts.
There he is.
Showing us his crotch and his skull.
Alright.
Alright. We have Patrick Fergie.
Hey guys.
Moving the flash. I don't know where the fuck Wrangler Dave is. I'm gonna put my finger in his snotty hole if he won't show up tonight. But there is someone here, a very special friend. Tristan from Purple Sticky. Last but not least, here is my special guest, William Steele.
Thanks for having me. Well, Paul, thank you for recommending me around for these shows. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, William. And I have to, I remember that one scene on the show where that Christian couple changed the locks on the door without telling them. That was just wrong.
I'd be kicking in some doors at that point.
Yeah,
Well, that's a great right. That's a parole violation.
Yeah.
Parole violation to kick in your own door to get into your own spot.
Yeah.
They were trying to get him.
Oh, fuck.
right.
Good old Placer County Justice, huh?
William.
This is a round table.
It was actually illegal to lock me out because it was on my driver's license and your parole address.
Yeah.
And it was time of COVID. You know, you couldn't really do evictions at that period in that town. But they did it, and the big thing was, you know, I didn't know much about reality television. My girl said, hey, reality television do anything for ratings. Don't let them set you up. You know, anything inappropriate, tell them no. And I said, I am not picking that lock to prove my skills. I don't have to prove myself to anybody. And I laid down on the front lawn while they were at a ball game. you know, for 4 hours. I was in the 95-degree heat with the whole camera crew, and they wanted to get some footage of me picking the lock, and I wasn't going.
You weren't falling for it. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've been covering a lot on inmates to roommates, and I think now we need to hop into the dark side here, but so you had some a little involvement in friendship and some wild times going on with Mr. Epstein and Gillian Maxwell. Oh, we said Epstein. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll pull up your book right here.
And it's doing that in the middle of the screen, exactly on top of my head.
Sorry. The other person, this is the way StreamYard works. But here is your book.
Thank you.
Yeah, we want to know what's going on. You got Bill Clinton, is that Prince? That's Prince, whatchamacallit? Is that Charles or Prince? Andrew. And we got, who right here. So tell us about your book. You're friends with these guys at some point in time. Tell me how all that happened.
Years ago, before I really caught on everything they were into, I was at a friend's of mine in Palm Beach on Fourth Avenue, and it's a diamond salon up there. There's stories in the book. I explained it in the book. And there was a guy at the other counter while I was waiting for my friends to finish with what I thought was just a regular, customer. And this guy had his hand down the back of a young lady's shorts. And that kind of pissed me. I was wanted at the time. I had a pistol on me with a silencer on it. I had a briefcase. I had a couple $100,000 in food I was trying to sell. And it really pissed me off. I was like, what the heck was this guy doing? And she did look underage. So she looked like a Jodie Foster from Taxi Driver era, maybe a little bit older. And so I excused myself from the store. When they left, I said, "Hey, such and such, I'll see you later. Let me go grab some lunch. I'll be right back." So I followed them to a place called Taboo, and I confronted him about it. And he said that was his niece, and they're playing around. She's 18 years old. And I said, "You're full of shit." I said, "You sound like you're from New York. I'm from Brooklyn." He said he was from Brooklyn. This is Jeffrey Epstein. You gonna make your noise? All right, so yeah, he explains it away. Supposedly, and I told him to sit there, and he didn't want to sit there. He was being belligerent. So I discreetly opened the thing, and I told him, I said, "Look, we can end this right here." I said, "I can end you. I can call the cops." I said, "And my friends got cameras in that store. So you got your hand down her shorts, and I'm gonna go talk to her. Do not get out of this chair." And I went over to speak to her, and they must have realized I was behind them, and they rehearsed their story. She said essentially the same thing, and I let it go. So eventually, he kind of baited my greed, and I said I was a jewelry wholesaler, and he says, "Oh, I buy jewelry all the time, and so we exchanged. That's how I met him. And over time, over years, I brought some cocaine and stuff over to the Palm Beach house, and I started seeing weirder and weirder things. I started seeing a lot of young models around, topless women at the pool, and you're coming and going there. It's a very secure place, and I was wanted at the time, and I was already pretty much known for what I do, which is I do a lot of burglaries in the Palm Beach, South Florida area. I was notorious down there, and he started picking up on that. I kind of confided a little more to him than I should have, and eventually he introduced me to Galen. Galen and I became very close and started to around, and what I realized was that I had relations with her, and some of them were playing with that. So, I was a lot, younger then, and, obviously I gained a lot of weight in prison because we were locked down for COVID.
He was smashing it, what he's trying to say.
What's that?
He was smashing it, that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, so, I still would invite these models, and I'm like, oh, they all look underage, I'm not into that. Now we all know that they record everybody doing this stuff, and they use it for blackmail. And so he wasn't too thrilled. I pulled a gun on him on Worth Avenue in a restaurant. So this was his way of trying to get back. And the most they might have, I never met with any of the young girls, but with her and her assistant, I don't care if they have that. I don't care. The FBI or anybody else.
Shit.
So bottom line is, when I escaped from prison, I went there one last time, and I was trying to get some financial assistance to get out of the area to see him or her. She was there, and we spent some time together. I ended up, if you read the book, restrained on a bed, She's there with her adult assistant, doing whatever. It was all consensual. You know, what guy's not down with, with threesomes, if you want to be honest. So it was all consensual. It was all good. And I had just escaped from prison. So she was in tears. She was in tears telling me that Jeffrey's going to be the death of her. This is right before his arrest in Palm Beach County. 2005. I think he got arrested in 2006, and he got a deal. Like a few months in the county jail or whatever. But anyway, just before that, so they were already starting to clear that house out of a lot of incriminating things because everything was disconnected. There was boxes of drives and discs, stuff everywhere. And so she approached me, and I said, "Look, it's obvious, what's going on here." I said, "I really don't want any part of this. I just came over if you can help me out because I'm trying to get out of town right now." And she wasn't having it, and basically threatened to turn me in. She wanted assistance in actually having him murdered at that time. Now, I contacted authorities, took some property out of that house, and when she wasn't in the room, I wrote a message inside one of the closets on the wall, so that if something happened to me, at least there's a notation of me being there. And so I was able to basically get out of that house with a few things, got them where they needed to be, all before this case blew up. Now, I'm in touch with some of the victim rights attorneys, and, we all know how what played out later. They suspect that he was murdered in jail. And I think you have a question for me about that, because I do know that she was one of the people that was bouncing it off in her own mind with the encouragement of somebody in politics whose name I won't mention on the show, because when I mentioned it on another show, this individual's name, who said they would run cover for her if that happens, because they're on video also. He did a short, put it up on TikTok. He had like 4 million views in a few days. They shut his channel down, and then so I don't mention the name anymore, but the name is in the book of who told her that she would get coverage from getting charged, and she can arrange to have him killed. So do I think he was in jail ultimately all those years later? I do. I mean, you have two corrections officials, one sleeping, Bureau of Prison jail guards, one sleeping on the job, the other one I guess was on the internet shopping, supposedly. No cameras are working. Supposedly he just tried to kill himself. He was supposed to have an inmate in the cell with him at all times, who's trained in letting staff know if the cellmate's suicidal.
Oh, yeah.
That inmate was removed from the cell the night before. I mean, it's just too weird. How did all the video go out? There's no images at all. I don't know. I think more than likely he was killed. He had dirt on very, very powerful people. And, her life's probably in danger too, because her only hope of getting out if her appeals fail is to make a deal. The federal system allows somebody to cooperate even years into their sentence.
Oh yeah, here's the book, here's the victims, here's this, here's that, and
Right.
should help get it.
I tease my fans over in New Zealand and Australia. I said she's probably going to get the witness protection program and go to one of your countries because she can't be around the royal family anymore. So she's going to get witness protection to New Zealand or something. Who knows?
Hey, William.
She's letting.
What?
Hey, William. Real quick. How do you know the serial killer billionaire Robert Durst?
Robert Durst, in the early 80s, I was going to the school of boxing thing in New York. And he was with Susan Berman walking down the street. I was with my friend Sammy. And I was in a hurry, and I was also dealing some coke at the time. We ran into each other. Soda that I was carrying, went everywhere. So I kind of went off on him. He went off on me. I was armed. He was armed. And this is Midtown Manhattan, and I'm getting ready to pull out a gun. I was trying to do the right thing in those years. I was dealing a little coke, but I was basically, trying to do the right thing. He was out there. I think they owned a lot of buildings, the Durst organization in Times Square, 42nd Street area. And so I think he was out there collecting rents or something that day. I don't know. A lot of mobsters had strip clubs, the peep shows, and all that stuff in those days. Giuliani came in and cleaned all that up years later. So we ran into each other, and Susan Berman, who he later murdered, stopped him from getting on my case. And my friend said, "Hey, Bill, calm down. This asshole's not worth it." Blah blah blah. So she makes him go buy me a soda. She gets me to the side, but with an ear side of him, and says, "Please don't get upset with my friend. He's been through a lot. His wife was recently murdered." And then can you still hear? So she's explaining that to me, But the story they were putting out at the time was that she was disappeared. So when she slipped up, I believe it was a Freudian slip that said the word murdered. He looked at her, glared at her right there on 42nd Street. And Frisky Kill, I say he killed her then. Because he did murder her in 2000. He just shut to keep her quiet about the case. But anyway, he went on trial in Los Angeles. When I got out of prison, I went to the trial to support the victims. I wrote a book about it, Sex and the Serial Killer, My Bizarre Times with Robert Durst, explaining what I know about him to be a predator of women and a murderer. And so I wrote a book about it. Nancy Priest covered it on her podcast while I was still incarcerated. And it's on Amazon or the website. You see above my head there. So if your fans want to check out my book, I sure appreciate it. But I wrote a book about it. I was writing a book about my life. My co-author, Gary Greenberg, is the editor right now of the National Enquirer. And he said, look, forget about writing about your life right now. The Jinx just came out. You're going to write something about Robert Durst. Let's do a quick book about what you know about Durst. The chick Gus, the chick Gus, the chick Gus, the chick Gus, the chick. Yo, it was huge. It was a 5-part series. I put my book out like